Gentlemen, welcome back to the shop today. A treat especial, what's been requested from patrons for yonks, which is a long-term tool review. I can assure you, I get no complaints from the wife, and she's on a proper lubrication schedule, so no worries there. But what we're actually into is this Makita long-term review. This is a tool that's been used, abused, and taken to bits many times in heavy industry, although it's never been a part. So at first glance, it looks like it's okay, but you get down low, and she got a little bit of the weeble wobbles to her. Not a very inspiring confidently. This came off of a job site, and nobody wants to use it because you get balls deep up a ladder on in a third world shithole and demonetized. Here's the thing. You can go ahead and say anything about gay for pay, but you can't call a developing nation a third world shithole. Speaking of this old Tony, I got to apologize, partner. I had no idea. I thought that three bean dip was a well-known thing. Here we get into a little bit of troubleshooting of mechanical systems. We've done a lot of troubleshooting of electrical systems, but not mechanical systems. So the first thing off the hop when you have a growly, grindy noise, is it frequency dependent? And is it periodic? Is it just intermittent whenever the hell it feels like it? Or is it on a defined schedule? So this chewiness was a defined schedule, and it was also speed dependent. It wasn't load dependent. So that tells us a lot. If it's load dependent, we could look at maybe a bearing or a gear. If it's intermittent, it might just be some weird thing going on, clicking and clacking. But if it's all the time periodic on a regular period, then we know we got a chewed up gear tooth or something. This one, though, is speed dependent and not load dependent, and it's very regular. So that tells me it's one of the spinning components in here. And what I've gone and done is just removed and loosened off some of the fasteners. We'll see if it goes away. If it goes away, that means that the rotating section has tweaked over to where it wants to be. Now it's not making noise. That means there's an alignment issue in here. So that is terrible. Still, we'll just, get the old X-ray adjuster out, give her a little tap, and see what happens now. It changed a little bit. Let's move this around. Worse. Oh, you see that back collar just tweaked there? Worse. Better. Oh, much better. I think we got her licked. They're crunchy. And then we just give her a wee twist at the top. Pro style. And smooth. I had it. Now it's fucked. There we go. Need the old Fonzarelli. Smooth as a baby's bottom twice, or forever be crying over spilt milk under the bridge. We fingered out the trouble. Clearly that was too easy, so now we are going to go ahead and fix her till she's broke. I want to have a look long term. Well, not long term look. Well, yeah, I don't even know what I'm saying. We're going to get her apart and see what other kind of troubles we can get into. As you'll note from the lack of piled up hot suppers, this thing hasn't had that much of a hard life. These things normally thrive on abuse and neglect, but this thing really hasn't worked all that hard for it to be out of kilter. You can see, well, as expected from where it's been working, a lot of surface rust here. Also, some sort of powder, that would be very likely cinder block or something like that. And then it's also been cutting some metal, a few little chips on some magnetized pins, and right in here as well. Those would have come in from the fan side. They're not from something chewing itself. Well, I don't think so anyway. from chewing itself up. I got the motor section all split from the gearbox section. I'm just dragging the finger on the front of the chuck to give it a little bit of load, and then we'll run I don't think there's a problem with the gearing because it was very linear. As we increased the speed, the sound, the rattle increased linearly, directly proportional rather than exponentially. So there's well, no, it wouldn't be exponential, but it wouldn't increase as fast because there's a gear reduction. If there was a problem with the gear reducer in this transmission, if we went from 0 RPM to 100 RPM, probably wouldn't hear the noise even because this thing would be spinning the thing and so fast. And that is the case, as witnessed by no real chunkiness that I can feel, and just dragging a little bit, and it's, yeah, nothing wrong with that. So that leaves us the motor section. So we'll get back in here. Right off the hop, the back of this bearing is all polished up and the front is kind of more dull looking. This has been fretting around in the bore or been misaligned. Now the bore itself, metal versus nylon, PA6 with, what is it, PA6 with glass fiber. The glass fiber in there is polishing that metal because it's off kilter. If it's perfectly in the bore, then there's no difference in movement and it can't polish, as witnessed by, well, I'll pull that out, as witnessed by the front bearing, but the back bearing has been fretting, and that, of course, we're fighting the permanent magnets to get it out. There we go. And that, you can see, has been hitting along here. So there's a bearing misalignment. Oh yeah, this is no good. We're splitting one of the laminations off here. Something physically contacted this. You see that? See the front? It's fretting along here. It's fretting in this section here. So why would the front be starting to delam if it's fretting back here? There's something going on with this. Something bustimacated. Let's have a look inside. Okay, so fresh rust. It's been rubbing on there. Why has it been rubbing? It's been really rubbing along here. Okay. This is a huge problem. Not you, Milwaukee. I don't know. What's this one? Makita. Not you too, Makita. I always harp on Milwaukee, but it looks like this. Focus, you fuck. Thank you. We got a busted out lamination here. So there's a tiny particle of the core you can see shining in the breeze. That's what I'm talking about. And then if you look in here, you can actually see where that, focus you fuck, where it broke out of. You see that missing lamination? Busted clean out of there. So in the center of the core, at the bottom of the drill, how does that bust out? It ain't getting hit with something that busts that out. That's a, yeah. Well, what else would explain that but a factory problem? What else could you, how else could you explain that? At the bottom of the drill, busted out a lamination and took out the rest of the drivetrain. It didn't take it out, but sure chunked it up. In an uncharacteristic bout of prescience, you'll recall this basket case, what I took apart previous for the BOLTR. However, I never got it back together and I fucked up the gearbox. So that means I got one drill with good electricals and one drill with good gearbox. But what we'll go ahead and do is make a beast with two backs. We're gonna take the good bits from one and stick them in the good bits from the other, see what we get. I thought I was wrong. Turns out I'm mistaken. The back bearing housing here, moving around, was actually an effect of the root cause of the problem, which was a lamination broke free. Why would a lamination break free? Other than a manufacturing flaw, I can't see it, especially being as how it was on the bottom. So how are you going to hit something like that hard enough to break one little lamination out? And silicon steel was very brittle, broke into a bazillion pieces, threw the alignment of the rotor off. We could sort of kind of half-ass get it to chooch proper wise by tweaking the thing, but it still wasn't right. Now that is, to me, a manufacturing flaw. Maybe you have a different opinion. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But looks to me like that was a flaw right from the factoria, which is unfortunate. You know, I got a soft spot for the Makitas. They've always held up real good. And especially when you see what's going on with the Wilt and the Wilfucky, you know, it's almost like a race to the bottom. Well, there's no almost about it. It's a race to the bottom. All right. Yeah. We're going to test her now. Here's the thing. You think you're getting a screaming deal on a used piece of gear, and you test it under no load, and it works fine. Or you don't test it at all, but you're getting a screaming deal. If you can't test it, I've been bitten by this time and time again. I'll be bitten by it, I'm sure. Because you get the bug, eh? You get that bug. There's only one of them. Somebody else is coming. The old car salesman routine, and you trip over your wallet to pay for the Jesus thing, and turns out you don't chooch no how, no way. But if you can, if it's a screaming deal, you gotta take the time to test it. So, half a turn, spit, let the smoke out. Oh, much better. But we gotta test it under load. Oh, for frog snacks. Who the hell runs it in? Ah. Hammer. Drill. First gear, second gear. Perfect. Thanks for watching. Keep your dick in a vice. How you doing, old boy? My buddy. You're a kind soul. I'm gonna check you out here. Poor guy. Gave us a hell of a start last night. Got him open from stem to stern. Fix his upturned belly. That shouldn't happen again. Asked me if I wanted to put him down. It's just about... Jesus Christ. But he's the loyalest person I know.